Thanks for clicking. With Canada's real estate market in a period of flux, with many predicting a cooling off of the market as the Bank of Canada continues to raise interest rates, I want to go over some of the dangers of the current market of which buyers should be aware when they're submitting their offers.
Drugs, guns, money, women.
Not quite. Primarily, home values. I've been hearing more and more from appraisers, real estate agents, other mortgage brokers that appraisals have been coming in light. That is, homes are appraising for less than the purchase price. During a market shift, when home values have the potential to decrease and decrease significantly over a short period of time, home buyers have found themselves caught off guard when their appraisals come back light, when the banks ask for more conditions, and when they are unable to fulfill those conditions, they ultimately get sued.
We'll see you in court.
So what I want to do today is go over two specific court cases where a market shift in unconditional offers have cost buyers hundreds of thousands of dollars. Then I want to look at one hypothetical example. Then we'll offer some tips for buyers entering Canada's uncertain spring market. Speaking of an uncertain market, we are set to receive April's real estate data in the coming days, and we'll get a good idea of how much this real estate market has shifted since the Bank of Canada raised rates by 50 basis points earlier this month. We'll obviously have updates out on that. If you want to get those updates, make sure you click like and subscribe. But for now, let's get into these court cases. The first case involves the purchase of a new build home in Deco Homes versus Sarakoff. In Richmond Hill, Ontario, the buyer, Sarakoff, agreed to purchase a home from Deco Homes for $1.25 million with an agreed completion date of March of 2019. However, by the time the home was almost completed, there was a big shift in the real estate market and the lender asked for an appraisal. That appraisal came back $300,000 less than the agreed upon purchase price, which put the onus on Sarakoff to come up with the difference. Sarakoff was unable to come up with alternative financing to come up with the remainder of the down payment and was forced to back out of the agreement. Deco Homes then sold the home for $980,000, much less than the $1.25 million that Sarakoff had agreed on, and promptly sued Sarakoff. Deco Homes won in court, and the court ordered that Deco Homes could keep the $120,000 in change deposit and ordered Sarakoff to pay a little over $154,000 in damages for not fulfilling the contract. So, a little over $270,000 in damages from Sarakoff to Deco Homes for not fulfilling the real estate contract. The second case, which we've talked about before, is Gamoff v. Hugh. In April 2017, David Lee and Yijing Hu engaged in a bidding war on a property in the GTA, ultimately submitting an offer for $2.25 million on a house listed at $2 million. Thinking they paid too much, the buyers backed out of the agreement. Now, this was right around the time that Toronto implemented its foreign buyers tax, and there was a huge market shift shortly thereafter. As a result, the sellers weren't able to sell their home until July 31st and received a purchase price of $1.77 million. Quite the difference between that and the $2.25 million that the original buyers had agreed to pay. The sellers, of course, sued the buyers in court, and the court ruled in favor of the sellers, ordering the buyers to pay $470,000 in damages to the sellers. And these are just two cases. Time and time again, the courts have ruled in favor of the sellers when buyers fail to meet their obligations. And this is a real problem when the market shifts, which it very well might be doing right now. During the past few years, when buyers couldn't fulfill their obligations, the sellers would simply relist their house and, more often than not, in my experience, would receive a higher price than the original buyers had agreed to pay for. So, the sellers would keep the deposit.
After all, we are not communists.
But nobody got sued. This isn't the case, as we just saw, when there is a market shift. If you purchase a home for $100,000 and the bank has agreed to fund 80% of the home's value, but that home only appraises at $80,000, the bank is only going to fund 80% of that $80,000, or $64,000. So the bank will only give you $64,000 on that $80,000 appraisal, so you will be forced to come up with the difference, the $36,000, to make up to that $100,000 purchase price.
Why don't you find some money?
So how can all of this be avoided? I always recommend, at minimum, an appraisal condition when you're submitting your offer to purchase. I understand, it definitely makes it far more difficult to get an accepted offer when it's a conditional offer. With that said, as the market continues to cool, we are starting to see more and more conditional offers being accepted. And also, it's better than getting sued. However, if you think that unconditional offers are the only way to go, if in your market it's the only way you're going to get an offer accepted, then just go into it with your eyes wide open, understanding the risks and maybe having maybe having a backup fund available in case the home doesn't appraise for the purchase price. Because as we've seen, the courts have consistently upheld the rights of the sellers over that of the buyers when buyers can't fulfill their obligations. A shifting real estate market can definitely be frustrating, and this was articulated by the judge in the Gamoff v. Hugh case when he noted that when the market turns and drops, it's not for the faint of heart. Definitely. The trick is to be aware of the shifts, aware of the risks, and make sure you adjust yourself accordingly and adjust your expectations accordingly going into the spring real estate market. We'll obviously have updates out on that market as it unfolds. Click like and subscribe if you want to get those updates, and thanks so much for watching.